1 minute warning!
To the goofball army out there, hi the families, tell them to get to the next room, tell them to go to your neighbors, because we got goofball news to go over, and it might get crazy.
Typically does, guys. If it's your first episode ever, you got like 30 seconds before we start, so not enough time to go to the bathroom, but go get a drink, because trust me, you're probably going to need it there. In the meantime, the rest, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. That way you know about future episodes as well, guys. Buckle your seatbelts if you haven't already. Make sure your tray is in the upright position here, guys, because we are just about ready to get going. And like, oof.
Guys, if you want a crazy ride going forward, a bunch of nonsense, but all nothing but the truth about the Giants, listen in, buckle in, tell a friend.
Let's go.
And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs in Your Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob. And, break the leg never hurt so bad.
Oh, craziness here going. So, and guys, those are you all watching us live here. We have the new chat box open now as they've changed the chat dimensions and everything on the streaming platform. StreamYard, we used to go out to everybody there. So, wanted to include that again, and it's nice they actually gave us a larger area to do that now, so we actually see things. I actually read my screen. It's nice. Makes it much easier.
Very nice.
It used to be so tiny, the font. Now it's like it's a decent sized font. You can actually go ahead and see everything here. So, but yeah, guys, we got a lot of news to go over. A lot of fallout here from the Giants once again, getting embarrassed here by the Eagles this time. Bad loss overall. We got the Skattebo loss. We got Daboll chickening out, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Here, got some nice words that Tom Brady gave to Jaxson Dart. We got rumors about Jalin Hyatt and the potential trade here. And apparently somebody thought it was a wise idea to tell Dexter Lawrence that nobody respects you anymore. I wouldn't say that to a man that size, but that's just me. And of course, as always, we're going to give you guys the rundown on all the Week 8 chaos here. So let's get right into it here, talking about, of course, the big story here. And the big story, obviously, is that a young star season it just ended in one of the most gruesome ways possible there. And even a rival team actually showed support. And a surprise visitor, which I thought was kind of nice there, actually. I had to give a little kudos on that one there. But yeah, we got to talk about Cam Skattebo and the injury here. So now I have seen a lot of people say about this as being a fracture. Let me be very clear. There is no, news from the Giants specifically, no news from Skattebo, no news from anybody involved with the surgery, the hospital, or anything like that that I have seen. I'll put it that way, just in case I missed one thing. It's always possible that there was no fracture mentioned by them. It is what they call a open dislocation. Now, with the research that I just went through by going to the University of Phoenix real quick on this, according to that research there that I looked at a couple places on open dislocations. So proper treatment, obviously surgical repair, which he's already had now, rehabilitation, which obviously he's starting there. Most athletes will be able to return to perform at the level of performance they had prior to the injury. That's not to say complications can't happen. Joint stiffness and different injuries during the recovery process can still obviously occur. But
infections.
Yeah, infections. The surgery was to prevent that. So hopefully, knock on wood, we're good to go there. But that means that beyond the fact that, hey, we wish the best for him because he's a human freaking being, it means that Skattebo should be good to go for next year and be able to go back to just, doing all kinds of crazy thing there. And Deb, I also, as I see your comment there, I also read that it was an open fracture from people, but I did not read that anybody Giants related or anybody Dr. Skattebo related at that point. There was articles calling it that, but an open dislocation is the verbiage that the Giants are using. So until I hear otherwise, I'm not going to say that here because there's a lot of people playing doctor. I've seen a lot of online doctors like, I haven't seen this case at all, but based on this, I think this happened. Like, shut up, dudes. Like,
yeah,
I hate when people do that.
Typically, like what Drew's saying there is like, there's a tear in the skin.
Yeah,
but the bone wasn't broken; it was dislocated, and like a dislocation looks exactly like that. I've seen that sadly, in person. It's gross.
but it would look really, really gross on the images.
Typically, like,
a lot of stuff I was looking it up on, like the paws, as you see, literally like a ball coming out of his sock. That's his ankle.
That's one good thing. It's like it's a ball instead of like a piercing looking thing. Like it's a ball, which how your bone's in, which is a good thing. But the thing is, you could be up and walking, but typically with an injury like that, they haven't really said anything. You typically tear a ligament somewhere.
Yes,
your delta
and
ligament.
I haven't heard anything yay or nay on that, but that is a typical thing. You're not wrong there, from what I've read.
Especially the way it twists. That's usually your delta ligament, which is a pretty significant ligament.
Yeah,
that works with controlling your ankle.
Now, Skattebo did give a statement here. He said, "Thank you, everybody, for the support. Surgery went well. I just want to thank the city of Philly for taking the best care of me. Every moment I spent in the hospital with family and friends, I felt loved and supported in every way." Give a little heart. Thank you to the doctors, surgeons, and staff that did their best work on me. This is just the beginning of my journey, and I can't wait to show you guys all about it. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. God has a plan for me. Stick the course and it'll work out. BRB, little salute emoji, hashtag LFG. I mean, he's got the right attitude. And Daboll even said in his press conference that he got a text message from like 4:00 in the morning, which is just insane. But he said that's just Scott. He just doesn't sleep and he's just nonstop all the time.
I can see that.
I can see that as well. I 4:00 in the morning is a little shocking to me because he just kind of reminds me of that kid who probably stays up to like 6:00 in the morning, goes to sleep for a couple hours, and is back raring to go at 10:00.
You also got to figure, 1:00 game, that injury happens, goes to surgery. Like he may have gotten under.
Who knows?
Maybe not. I mean, typically if you're relocated, you don't go.
Well, the relocation, that's the weird thing about it. Some of the relocation, from what I was seeing, happened on the field. So when we saw him on the aircast, they're saying that somebody basically on the field would have gone ahead and kind of popped it back into place to a certain degree because of the risk of infection. So it's definitely a risk there. Now, Jordan Ronan on X there went ahead and talked about it and said, spoke with sources this morning, and Cam Skattebo had surgery Sunday night. He's doing well given the circumstances. It was an emergency situation with an open dislocation. Again, he used the same verbiage I'm using here. Open dislocation that warranted him remaining in Philadelphia for the surgery. Now, I was curious because, again, I don't pretend to be a doctor. I'm like half the people on Facebook and X and all that kind of stuff right now. I don't pretend to be a doctor. I know some people were just brushing off their doctorate they got during COVID at that point to discuss medical information. it reminded me of that. Everybody all of a sudden became an epidemiologist, but when I looked it up, what they said basically is open ankle dislocations, basically, again, meaning the skin's broken, the joint is fully exposed. They're more common to have issues of contamination, infection. So if left untreated for too long, it could potentially actually be life-threatening even. Because there's actually a specific type of infection that if it gets it, that you actually legitimately, like, you can't get rid of it. Like, you're going to die from it, basically. That's how legit serious this is. Now, again, that's obviously down the line, ignoring it. That's not to say Skattebo's dealing with that. They did it right. They treated him quickly. No issues there. There's also the potential, if left untreated, for blood vessel and or nerve damage as well. So the Giants had no choice but to take this serious and get it done immediately. Ian Rapoport said, if all is good and clean and the surgery went as well as everyone believes, he should be back with no issues for next year. It's a gruesome injury, but the recovery is not as bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we should 100%, as long as we have the right information that we currently have. I'll put it that way, because you never know what comes out down the line. There's all HIPAA laws and stuff like that, and the Giants have to disclose some things because of the NFL rules. But with HIPAA rules and stuff like that, there's some things they really can't go ahead and disclose. So, assuming with all the stuff we have, he should be, good to go for next year there. And I got to say, when I see guys in the comments, I love the pure toughness he did show on the field
100%.
yesterday. I will say he probably was in shock to a certain degree. Let's be honest. You go through that kind of pain, you're going to be in a level of shockness there. But he was extremely calm and composed considering the amount of, pain he had to be in at certain points in this.
Certain points. Like
I said, you go into shock, but you're still going to feel some pain, like during the actual event itself. If they actually did go ahead and, reset his foot on the field, like they're saying. Again, I haven't heard the team doctors say that. I just want to be clear. That's stuff I'm reading that's a typical scenario.
Listen, he left in a soft cast. Like typically, if you're not going to reset something, you don't leave it. You leave it just where it's at.
Well, it's also not to get too graphic, but if his foot's like this, you can't put the cast on that way, like this, without
100%
setting something.
But like if they're that worried, like where they couldn't move it, they're not going to cast it.
Yeah.
So they probably reset it right there in the field.
Yeah, and also I see Jay saying, and I mentioned it yesterday, but I'll mention it again. We talk often about how classless Eagles fans are, and again, to be very frank, they deserved it for a lot of stuff they've done over the years. Yesterday, they were extremely classy by 100%. Going ahead and doing what they did as far as a standing ovation for him during it. I'm sure there was some people that weren't the nicest because I can tell you during the NFL Sunday ticket that I had up on my screen as we're doing the play-by-play yesterday, there was definitely some people in the comment section that were Eagles fans that were talking trash, but most people I think were, doing the right thing that were Eagles fans there. The Eagles actually sent out their guy that nobody knows what exactly he does, in Eagles chief of security, Big Dom. That's the title they give him, but nobody actually knows what he actually does. He's like that guy that in the mafia that just kind of hangs out in the background. You're not sure what he does, but you don't want to really mess with him. You know what I mean? Like that's just
like
what it is.
In the back of the field, back in the casino days.
But he went back in to check on Skattebo yesterday at the hospital. Brought him cheesesteaks and pizza, which is just as Philly as it gets there at that point. And you want to ask at that point, Pat's or Geno's, and if they say anything but those two, then it's a legit cheesesteak. Well, I was always a Pats guy. If it's good enough for Rocky, it's good enough for me.
Listen, actually, you want some really good cheesesteaks? Go to Belmar. Just go to cheesesteaks. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we got Delco's here in Clearwater. It's actually pretty good. They actually import the bread from Philadelphia, too.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, like I said, all as good a news as possible we could have from the situation.
A terrible situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. As good as we could have possibly have, because in the end, we got a scenario where we got a guy who's going to be out for the year. I know Ian Rapoport's already said it. I don't think the Giants have officially said it yet, but there's no way in hell he's coming back. Let's be honest, this year. But he should be good to go next year. He should have no lingering issue on this. It should be as good a possible outcome to this scenario as we could possibly have.
It depends. Listen, we're almost halfway through the season, so for him to come back in 2 months to start playing again, because we're probably not making the playoffs. Let's be real. It's probably a season injury. But I also watched a 6-year-old woman recover from this within 2 to 3 months, and she had ligament damage. She was walking.
Yeah,
I'm sure the guy that's 20 years old. I'm sure the guy that's 20 years old in his prime.
Yeah. It's also a difference between getting up and walking around and getting up and playing professional football, and that's the difference.
There's the big difference in how you recover at 20 and at 60.
So they were saying, from everything I've read on this, that anytime between January and May is when he should be good to go for full contact. Again, depending on the severity of the injury and depending on the level of recovery he needs based on the injury. Again, we don't know that. We don't need to know either, do we? Quite frankly, it's his personal medical stuff there. I don't need to know. But
if he's out for the year, he's out for the year.
He's out for the year, and he should be good to go next year. That's the big thing there. But I've been warned not to talk about cheesesteaks anymore, though, apparently. What if the Golden Corral is cheesesteaks? Anyway.
Cheesesteak burritos.
Cheesesteak burritos. Go right next to the pot roast burritos. So I watch this one day. Like, is there probably pot roast burritos at the Golden Corral? But yeah, like I said, I just think that, like I said, I want to share the news because it's good news. And I see Deb, or it's asking if they're bringing up Turbo Miller. We did a quick video on it last night when they announced the surgery, and I said, and I'll still stand by this: Turbo Miller should be called up, just because this is now a season-ending injury. And then you look at what's going on right now with, the prior injury. You may not have called up, Turbo when Tyrone Tracy was out for a couple of weeks, but now this is the whole season. You need a third running back. So Turbo Miller hopefully being called up. Not a lot of guys out there in free agency, unless you want to go with some old fart like Ezekiel Elliott, which would be kind of weird to see him in a Giants uniform. And I don't want to see that. Bring the kid up. Let's see what the kid's got. And then if you have to get somebody later on in the year, get someone later in the year. But Tyrone Tracy's gonna have to basically be Tyrone Tracy of last year. Devin Singletary is gonna have to be basically Devin Singletary of a couple of years ago, and that's what we got to hope for.
The Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, like that's basically what I see. But I want to see Turbo. I really do. You guys know I've been a big Turbo guy from the get-go. Let's see some Turbo time. Because what have we been really lacking in this offense is, is wide receiver running back screens and wheel routes and things of that nature. And that's what 100% Turbo brings to the table.
100%. I was literally talking about this today at work. It's like how great he is.
Maybe you should have selling more vacuums instead.
Could have been. But we're talking about how much we sell.
I was selling tires all day, apparently, at the place that didn't even sell tires. All right, guys, let's talk about the next topic here, because when the moment came to defend his players, Brian Daboll went silent, and the locker room's like you can notice as Daboll point blank he just chickened out here today and yesterday, and basically since this game has been over. He was asked after the game, about the referees. And he said, I'm not going to comment on what I think about the officials. That was his chance, guys, to stand up for the players. That was his chance to stand up and be part of the flipping out. Because, the players were all doing it. And I get it. Behind closed doors, he probably was as well. Let's be honest. Daboll's not usually the calm, quiet, collective guy. He was flipping out on the field, especially during the fumble. That should have been, and a couple other situations as well. And
listen, that touch push is like 99.999% like golden for a first down. And listen, Giants won at that point with that. And that's terrible.
But you see what's going on. I mean, this team is coaching staff, and obviously more specifically the defensive coordinator than Daboll, obviously. But this team is kind of losing its, it's losing the communication and the positivity between the players and the coaches at this point because of all the losing. And to me, he point blank should have just taken it. He would have got fined. Don't get me wrong. But I think the benefit of the fine would have been so much more for that team than it would have been for the fine for him. I mean, the fine's going to be nothing compared to what he would have gotten anyway. And quite frankly, there's some fines worth paying. And to me, that was worth paying. And not only because of the team aspect of it, like I said, but because if I'm him, and maybe this is why I'm not a head coach in football, one other reasons probably as well, like lack of a resume and things like that, but didn't stop Jeff Saturday. But I wouldn't be able to hold myself back in that scenario.
There's some really bad penalties against us.
Point blank, I would not have been able to hold myself back. And I think in that scenario, he had something to gain by talking trash about the refs to a certain degree. And he could still do it in a respectful way. And you could have said, hey, listen, the refs didn't do right by our guys. Kayvon Thibodeau made a great play, got a fumble taken away. You could have talked about the holding calls. You could have talked about, and again, I talked about it yesterday, was kind of, to me, I see kind of both sides of the offensive pass interference, but he could have had Slayton's back if he wanted to in that scenario as well, because there definitely was both players.
It was both sides, which should have canceled.
And it depends on how you want to cancel. Do you want to cancel it by not calling, or do you want to cancel it by calling it on both players, which cancels out the play that can never happen either way? Either way, I'm not going to get ticked off at that call specifically because there's so much more egregious calls. It's not even funny. But I'm just saying, I felt like this was a move to kind of build the team together. Like I that's where I'm at, and I feel like that would have been a potential team building moment, and this team needs it, quite frankly, right now with everything going on. But instead, I feel like Daboll kind of just chickened out.
Yeah.
So, bok Daboll, bok.
Bok, check.
Calling it out there. So, all right, let's talk a little more positivity. A little more positivity here. So, Tom Brady's words about Jaxson Dart might have been quite possibly been the biggest endorsement the Giants have heard about a quarterback in years. And obviously, that's not saying much considering we've had, Daniel Jones, which was obviously very much a failed experiment in New York, at least. Good for him in Indy, but let's talk about what Tom Brady had to say on Jaxson Dart, because he actually had some pretty nice things to say overall, guys. So he said a couple of things during the game. He said, "I always look at quarterbacks and go, how would I answer that question? When I hear Jaxson Dart, especially after last week's loss at Denver, it was the same way, taking accountability for mistakes. He also is this competitive kid. He said to me on the call this week, Tom, I'm not into moral victories, so I've got to make better plays. The team's counting on me. This organization loves him a lot, and they're all invested in him, and there's a lot of reasons to be." That's pretty. I mean, listen, you say what you want about Brady. I'll call him the quarterback GOAT myself personally because of all the rings and the winning. I know there's a little bit of scandal.
He's got more rings than Thanos
stuff around the ways, but at the very least, he's got to be on your Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks.
You have to consider it.
At the very least.
Well, typically, like when you're that good, people look for a reason to say how bad you are or how you're that good.
Yeah. Like somehow Patrick Mahomes, Kermit the Frog, gives him like an unfair competitive advantage.
Pretty much.
Like I said, and I get it. I see Anthony with Deflategate, Spygate. And I'm getting, like I said, I'm there 100%. But don't tell me even without that stuff, he is not in your Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks.
Yeah. All right,
like that didn't cause him to get all of the rings and all of everything else. Like he still won a ring in Tampa as well on top of that. So, but and like I said, regardless of what you think of him personally, he is still a guy that he knows a lot about the position. Like it's just there. Now he also said, if you're a New York Giants fan, I'd be excited about this young quarterback. That's pretty damn good. He said, very impressed. I look at the mental, emotional parts of his game, and I'm loving those things. Guys, there's a lot to be negative right now with the Giants. Let's be very frank about that. There's a lot to be negative about.
A lot.
But this is one massive, massive thing to go ahead and to be excited about, because there's really two types of teams in the NFL. The haves and the have-nots, and it's all about quarterback. Point blank. We may be a have right now. I can't say we were a have since Eli retired. No offense to Daniel Jones, because the Giants are half the problem. I still think he's part of the problem. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be rude about it with DJ, but it's definitely, like I said, this is potentially the most exciting time as a Giants fan in a long time. And I'll say this point blank, even I'm more excited about the Giants right now because of Dart than I even was back in 2022 when we're actually winning. Because back in 2022, I was still like, do we have a quarterback? Do we not have a quarterback? Like, here's a guy that I'm actually thinking is a legit quarterback. And he's doing things on this offense that, yeah, the offensive line is playing pretty decent right now, which it wasn't back in 22. We have no receivers. Same problem we had back in 2022. But back then we had Saquon Barkley. We don't have Barkley now.
No.
And no offense to Skattebo. I don't want to kick the man while he's down, and I'm sure he would say this himself. This year's Skattebo is not as good as 2022 version of Barkley. He may get there, but it's the truth. He's not quite there. Like, I'm just looking at
year.
This is a big, big reason to be optimistic. We have a guy who's young, who's showing potential, who we could potentially build around. And if I get my way and Daboll is gone, this makes it a very, very attractive spot for head coaches to go to. I already have a quarterback that I can look at with this team and say, you know what? This team's already got a guy. I like this guy. I trust this guy. Oh, yeah, and look at the side of the field. There's tons of pass rushers everywhere. Like, this is like I said, it's I get right now the current right now is not great. But this is an exciting time to be a Giants fan just because of Dart.
Yes, without a doubt.
Now it's just how do we stop us from screwing him over?
And it helped develop to the next level. Like, he's playing great football now.
Yeah.
You only get better, especially as a freshman.
You're
supposed to get better.
Going back to high school?
I'm just saying, man, it's his freshman year in the NFL. It's okay. It's messed up. I say freshman. We say a sophomore slump for Bo Nix.
Sure. I just gotta bust your chops. It's not an episode without busting your chops.
I'm just saying, could have went to college too.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just, I just think it's gonna be interesting overall. And you hear a lot of things about around the leagues. I see Deb's comment there. Pat Leonard saying Shane has made enemies around the league, agents, etc. Nobody would want to work with him as a head coach. I don't think anybody would want to work with him or Daboll, quite frankly. And that's why I'm the biggest proponent of getting rid of those two. But I think the development of Dart is what's going to probably keep Daboll in a job. And I hate to say it, but I do think that's what's going to happen. But we got a quarterback.
Skattebo going down might be something that might help us.
We'll see.
Skattebo was like this Dart.
Or maybe it gives him an excuse.
Could be. Maybe.
All I know is we got a goddamn quarterback. For how long? Yeah. I don't know with the way he runs the ball. But for right now, we got a quarterback. I haven't been able to say that in a long time. I'm happy.
So long.
All right.
Yeah. What I was going to say is Skattebo, definitely him and Dart have this tight connection. We've seen it for the past 4 weeks on the field.
Yes.
And they trust each other.
And you saw how upset Dart was.
Oh, yeah. That was breaking my heart too. But now if we go ahead and the next 8 games, we go 2 wins, 2-6. Do you think Daboll keeps the job? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. He's got a tough road ahead. He really does. And getting close to wins when he works for so long.
Niners, Bears, and Green Bay, the next 3 games. Oh, my.
Yeah. So, all right. As Anthony says, Dart left and went to the hospital. Let's talk about another guy who might be leaving as well. We're not sure here because it's got a segment here, a healthy scratch or a hidden plan. Giants fans are puzzled right now about what the benching of Jalin Hyatt might actually mean. He was a healthy scratch in the game there. Like, that's the first time he's been a healthy scratch. By the way, slight side note, right as we begin this, I should mention, how sad is it that 3rd-round pick Hyatt just not even could have put him in the game at all. Just go ahead and healthy scratch him. Evan Neal, 1st-round pick, healthy scratch. James Hudson III, the guy we just gave a $12 million contract to, healthy scratch.
Yeah.
Bad. That's bad. But people are kind of wondering about what that might have meant. And there's a rumor going around that I'm gonna share with you guys. I actually think, I wonder if it's got some validity to it. People are wondering if he was a healthy scratch to go ahead and make sure he stays healthy to be traded. And teams have called about, before anybody says, who the hell would ever trade for Jalin Hyatt? Now, I would not if I was an NFL team, but teams have called. Teams have called on Jalin Hyatt in the past, guys. And I'm telling you right now, you give me a 7th-round pick for Jalin Hyatt, he's gone. I don't care. Next year, give me a 7th-round pick even. Make me wait a year to get a scrub. I don't care. Like, Jalin Hyatt is absolutely goddamn useless. Watch him be great somewhere else now, but,
That's the way it goes.
But that is what we've heard from multiple people before, so... And Chase's clickbait. It's not clickbait, dude. I'm telling you right now, it's been reported by multiple people that teams were calling in on Jalin Hyatt. This guy was a Blindikoff winner a couple of years ago. And let's be honest, the Giants do not have the best history in the last couple of years of utilizing people to their full talent. If you were a team that needed a receiver and wanted to take a shot at somebody that was cheap, let's be honest, Jalin Hyatt's going to be cheap. He's going to be easy to get for any team. Why not pluck one that excelled in college, has not excelled in a team that's had issues all over the offense?
Looking at you, the Panthers.
Like I said, I just think, again, I think that he's not going to be good at all anywhere he goes. I don't think he's a Giant problem. But you know what? Last year, how many of us would have said Daniel Jones is not going to be good anywhere he goes?
Majority of us.
So can you blame a team for looking at that and saying maybe this is a reclamation project that was a 3rd-round pick that's now worth a 7th-round pick or 6th-round pick, whatever the hell the Giants can get for him? I don't think it's as crazy as people think.
Watch him becomes a cult.
Watch him become a cult. I just, that's where it's at. I mean,
be a giant horse.
We know the offers were there. And I'm telling you, I know Jay just definitely thinks nobody wants him. I'm telling you, somebody would potentially want him. And the Giants are morons if they don't let him go for anything. Like, I don't care what you want. You want to give me a football that somebody went ahead and, like, cut into with a switchblade and you can never hold air again? Take it. I will take that football. You can have Jalin Hyatt. Give me a used kicking net. I don't care. Like, I would trade this guy point blank for a box of fresh pencils.
Number 2.
He's even not a number 2. I don't care at this point. He's useless to us. And we're gonna find out point blank if the Giants were the problem or he was the problem. But my gut tells me he's the problem. But again, my gut would have said that DJ was a problem. Was not, I wouldn't say a problem because he wasn't a problem per se, but that he wasn't talented enough to make it as a starter in the league. And I was wrong about that. He's making it right now in Indy.
He's the number 1
seed. Jonathan Taylor was really helping him out, but still, I mean, like let's not kid ourselves there. But like I said,
let's not kid ourselves because he had Barkley.
Yes, in 22 when he was good. Yeah, and let's not also say, I see you guys in the comments there, the pressure of New York with Jones. What about the pressure with Hyatt? You don't think Hyatt's under pressure to perform as a 3rd-round pick when he's done absolutely nothing? And then on top of that, throw in the fact that I don't think he takes criticism very well. Look what happened we talked about multiple times, that Cowboys coach that went up to him and talked about him needing to develop a route tree, and he kind of went off about it. We liked it at the time because he was a Cowboys coach he was going after, but that shows a little bit of weakness there, mental weakness. Maybe he just doesn't have the mental fortitude for New York. Needs a new start somewhere else. Give him the fresh start. Take whatever the hell you can get from him and move the hell on. I'll throw in Evan Neal.
Please.
Yeah.
Please. That's for 8th-round draft pick. Please.
Like that's where I'm at. Just throw. I'll give you Evan Neal, James Hudson III, and Jalin Hyatt for a 7th-round pick in 2030. But like I said, it just makes you question it, because if the Giants thought little Jordan Humphrey, who was on the practice squad the whole entire year, we could have called him up at any point, but we kept Hyatt. This game we called up little Jordan Humphreys, and we didn't keep Hyatt. We made him a healthy scratch. After Hyatt had his best game of the last 2 years. Last time against the Eagles, by the way. Just saying. And I agree, as I see Deb says, throw in Banks too. If it wasn't for all the injuries, I'd be there right now. Yeah, like point blank. If it wasn't for all the injuries to the corner position, I'd be all about it. Let's throw Banks in there too. We need him for right now, unfortunately. The sad, sad state of affairs. All right.
So sad.
Let's talk about one more thing here. So Carl Banks just told Dexter Lawrence something no one else would, and it's gonna kind of sting. We've kind of danced around this ourselves a little bit here because Dexter Lawrence hasn't been Dexter Lawrence this year, and there's a lot of respect we have for the man. And quite frankly, he can probably sit on me and crush me. So therefore, we've kind of danced around ourselves there. But Carl Banks on the Believe in Giants podcast there says, Dexter Lawrence, nobody respects you anymore. You guys, your opponents do not. The pre-injury Dexter is not in their heads. They're blocking you with a 9-year backup center. When Darius Alexander gets in the game, those guys are making plays against the same guys that are blocking you. It's time to start expecting more of yourself because they don't respect you. I am so mixed on this, dude. Here's my whole thing. I don't trust anything. I don't trust anything I see of any defensive player right now as long as Shane Bowen's still calling the plays.
I was going to say,
that's where the attention's got to go.
But Carl Banks is there saying, look at the coaching. This is what's going on.
Now, he did, in all fairness, though, he did also go after Shane Bowen a little bit as well. But this was the one that got all the headlines because people are like, whoa, Dexter Lawrence. Like, really? That's the guy you want to go after? Like, let's be honest. Has Dexter Lawrence been Dexter Lawrence this year? No.
No, but we also talked about that going into the year. And not to fit him because he's not played up to expectations. But, we talked about you have Carter, you have Thibodeau, you have Burns, you have all these people that get sacks. So, yeah, it's going to take away from the guy that was damn near putting pressure on everyone because there's pressure going everywhere else. You have to respect the guy, and they go to the outside. That's kind of what happens.
But it's not just that. It's overall in general. So his double teaming has gone down. Teams aren't exactly as afraid of him as they used to be, and he's still not producing even with the double teams going down. I think personally the injury is still bothering him a little bit, and I think this is sometimes you get a really good player and it takes 1 year of them back in the field before they're back to themselves, and I think that's probably what's going on here, to be very frank. And I don't want to sit there and say that's what's definitely going on because I'm not in there. For all I know, he's just frustrated because he hates Shane Bowen. Again, I'm not saying he hates Shane Bowen. I'm just saying we don't know. For all we know, it's the way they're using him in the scheme this year because he's definitely not being used the same. I'm willing to give this guy a pass because he's given it his all for the Giants for a long time and say, you know what? It might be just an off year for him. Let's see what he does next year and take it from there. But to me, for a former player like Carl Banks, and let's be honest, he's been with Giants media more years now than he's ever a player, but I still think of him as the former player because we all know him more as Carl Banks, the linebacker, than Carl Banks, the media guy, no matter how many years he talks behind the mic. For Carl Banks, the player, to understand how crappy this defense is being called, because don't tell me he doesn't understand that. And for him to go ahead and go after a player who has given it their all for years, then, dude, that's just messed up. And it brings me back to the whole Banks works for the Giants. Let's be very frank about that part of it there. Banks works for the Giants. And if you knock Shane Bowen too much, you knock Brian Daboll too much, you don't think the Giants are calling him up saying, dude, cut it out? You know what I mean? That's where it's at, because look at what happened. We talked about it with Talking Giants last year, where they called them up and threatened Bobby Skinner because they did one video about how the Giants should fire Joe Shane. Imagine if somebody that worked for them said that kind of negativity about the coaching staff or the front office.
Yeah, it's also like it's a double-edged sword too, because like he does work for the Giants, and fans are frustrated, especially what happened earlier this year and how he came at him, came at fans and podcasters. Maybe gave him a little leash to say like, "Hey, go ahead, say something." Fans are frustrated. Agree with him a smidge.
Yeah, and like I said, he's not wrong 100% what he's saying. I just think that shouldn't be what we talk about right now, because I just don't trust anything I see. Now, I will say this in his defense, because like I said, I don't like that he said it. That's where I'm kind of mostly at there. I don't disagree with it fully. I just don't think it's like time and place kind of scenario. But I will say this: all reports, and I probably he even said it himself on the podcast. He said this to Dexter Lawrence as well. So I will give him that credit. If you said it to his face, then you're good, because to a certain degree, because you at least manned up. You weren't just like, hey, buddy. And then all of a sudden, let's go talk trash about you in the mic.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of do that because we don't know the players, but it is what it is. We're just schmucks.
You're welcome to come on the show.
Yeah. Welcome to come. We'll say it to your face. Come on the show, Deontay Banks. We'll talk about your lack of effort. We'll take
Hyatt.
strike even to show the plays you took off. But it's like I said, I'll give him some credit on that. But like I said, I think honestly, for anyone right now to be focusing on a player as opposed to the scheme, the coaching, the issues going on that we're all seeing when we're watching this game is ridiculous. And that's where this 100% should be at. And Dexter Lawrence, again, not having a great year, but he's the last guy I will call out, because that guy's given it his all for the last couple of years when this team has sucked.
100%. But they're way worse player-wise, coaching-wise, yeah.
I mean, like, I get it. He's probably frustrated because he's been giving it his all for so many years with a crappy team. I can see how that would get frustrated. Like, I'm sure you can understand if, like, your team was underselling vacuums for so long. I mean, eventually you get fed up, wouldn't you?
Yeah, stop selling those retired Kmart vacuums. They've been out of business forever. Go back to the Dysons and the Hoovers.
I'm just saying, like, he said, I don't know. I feel like he went after the target he could, because you can go after the player because the team won't stick up for it as much, which is kind of a sad statement itself to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, let's pay the bills real quick, and then we're going to get back to doing our Week 8 recap. And then also, maybe, because I see it's being requested in the chat, maybe we'll do another dance. I see it's being requested in the chat. So.
Thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
All right. Yep. I say we lost Rob during this. There he is, though. All right. So let's break out into our Week 8 recap. Absolutely a weird week. Like, it's definitely brought a little bit of chaos around the league here. We had a couple of upsets. We had injuries. We had a couple surprises. We also had total blow-ups here, point blank. Like, absolutely insane. So Let's get right into it here. So, as usual, we'll go real quick on the Thursday game because it's just so long ago. It is what it is at this point. But Chargers 37, Vikings 10, absolutely blew them out. You want to take it away with the big upset of the week here, Rob?
Oh, yeah. All right, 1 o'clock, you had Miami going into Atlanta. Far travel for them. But, yeah, the Falcons were supposed to smoke this team, 7.5 points. But got upset by Miami. The over-under in this game was at 44.5 points. And, yeah, it went to the under, of course, because Miami smoked Atlanta once again because they did not have Penix. It's hard to win games when you don't have your starting quarterback and your number one receiver, and Drake London. And what really surprised me most in this game was the fact that the Dolphins so happened to stop the run and stop Bijan Robinson the whole time. So kudos to the Dolphins for stopping the run, and they went up winning this game 34-10.
Yeah, and we got another upset here of sorts, I guess. Like at the beginning of the season, if you would have told me, "Oh, the Bears are going to Baltimore to play the Ravens," you would say, "Yeah, the Bears are not gonna, you know, in any way, shape, or form, be the favorite against the Ravens, who go to the playoffs every single year and are top team in the AFC." But nope, not this year. Ravens were 1-5 and go into this game here. But yet they also managed the upset against the Chicago Bears. The Bears just being the Bears here. So and a weird game too as well. Like neither quarterback played very well. Caleb Williams, 285 yards, an interception. Tyler Huntley was in a quarterback, 186 yards and a touchdown. Derrick Henry had a couple of scores in the game there, doing Derrick Henry kind of things there. But the Ravens just destroyed the Bears 30-16.
Yeah. Talk about another upset game. You had the Jets going into Cincinnati. And what was actually a kind of fun game to watch because it was back and forth and there was no defense whatsoever. Yeah. The Bengals were favoring this game by 6.5 points because the Jets have not won a game until this game. With the over-under being until this game, with the over-under being at 44.5 points. And my God, what a game, because this went way over. The Jets squeak out a win in the last minute and just outpace the Bengals in this game. And come up with the first one at 39-38. And the biggest takeaway from this game I looked at was Bryce Hall had his best game thus far this year. And they won. The Jets won because of running the ball. But the funny part is the Bengals ran the ball better, but they just ran it 14 less times in this game. And if they just want to stay consistent, because they were up most of this game, they stay consistent, run that ball at 7.5 yards per carry, it's just about what it was, you would have won the game. But that was goofball coaching right there. And you give the Jets the first win.
Yeah, a little craziness, that's for sure, with that one. And I got to say, and again, I don't root for the Jets, obviously, as a Giants fan. I don't hate them. It's kind of like the little brother, so to speak, there. But
yeah,
I was very happy for what the Jets were dealing with yesterday with the passing of Nick Mangold way too young. And I was very happy that they got that win. Hopefully it makes it a little easier for people in the building that day there because that's just sad, dude. 42 years, well, he's 41, 42 years old and passes away. Like, I mean, the guy was younger than I am. Like, it just makes you think, like, and I know, he had a kidney issue and was trying to find a donor, and there was a couple issues like that there just kind of happening there. And it's sad, man. That's way too young. But, like I said, glad the Jets were able to squeak out a win and give themselves something to kind of be happy about. That's for sure there. Speaking of things to be happy about, as I saw you smirking about this during there, Deb, thank you for your support. The $5 super chat. She says, "Here's the first super chat for not dancing." Listen, and Jay says, don't worry, Drew. AC will give you kidney if you need one. I'm good. My kidneys are working. You got some ankles or some backs or some some kind of knees or something like that lying around. I can use some of those probably, but the kidneys right now, knock on wood, doing good. Let's go to the next game here. We got the Bills at the Panthers. And this is like we get now into the kind of the blowouts here for the rest of this year. I can be honest with you guys.
For most of it.
Spoiler alert there, but we had a couple upsets, but it was just the very beginning of this part here. Bills just killed 40-9. Like it's not even close. The scary part is you got to go like, okay, 49. Josh Allen must have gone off. No, 163 yards and a touchdown. That's all it was. That's insanity there. Andy Dalton was in a quarterback and got more yards, 175. James Cook, though, 216 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was almost like he was playing the Giants. That's how good he was running the ball. Absolute crazy. Matt Prater just field goal after field goal. Is it what? Let's see. Where did Matt Prater even end up? I see this. Yeah. Why do I see it more on the thing? Google's like Google had like field goal, and then I go to the thing. It's like just 2. Obviously, the extra points are throwing too. So, but yeah, it's just like I said, absolute implosion by the Panthers there, 40-9. Like that's brutal. That's brutal.
Bills came off a bye and did exactly what they're supposed to do to a team that's kind of coasting by being bad teams. They smashed them. Like they barely won against the Saints. They were trying to figure things out, and yeah, they let Cook. That's what I took away from that game.
And it started off close. It was 3-0 at the end of the first, and then all of a sudden, second quarter 16-3, third quarter 21-0. It literally think about that, 37-3 in the second and third quarter combined. Like that's rough. That's absolutely rough.
And just like Jay saying over here, let's put it up on the screen that the Panthers are doing kind of a solid rebuild. Like it's not a fantastic, but they're putting the pieces together.
I like the coach they got. I like Dave Canales, actually.
Yeah, they're doing good. So kudos to you, Jay, for a nice comment there. But up next, you got the Niners going into Houston. Not you, Jay, just your comment. Anyway, the Niners going to Houston. The Niners are favored in this game by 1.5 because they just been winning games with absolutely no one. It's absolutely amazing. The over-under at 41.5 points. And yeah, this game finishes in the under just barely, but it's not because the Niners stopped the Texans. The Texans stopped the Niners. They stopped CMC mostly here. You took him out of the game. He only had 25 rushing yards and we have 43 receiving yards. The only reason why the Niners are in this the season so far is because CMC just continues to play hero ball week in and week out.
Beastin'.
Texans defense steps up, stops him, and CJ Stroud threw some nice balls there. Mac Jones on the day was 19 of 32.
19 of 20. That's like 86 Rose Bowl, Super Bowl kind of stats.
I was going to say.
Phil Sims, like good job.
193 yards with 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, but CJ Stroud, 30 of 39 with 318, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So,
and that's who we got next week, guys. Those 49ers. So,
yeah, but they find ways to win.
Yeah, and Jay just beat me to the punch. What I was going to say. Anthony says, "I don't want a world where the Panthers are better than us. The Panthers beat us last year, and they have a better record than us this year. I'm sorry, but that's the world you have right now. That the Panthers are better than the Giants. That's not saying much, though. Let's talk about a team that is not better than the Giants, the Browns. Probably one of the very few teams left that aren't. Went to the New England Patriots there, and oh my gosh, just got spanked big time. Imagine your star pass rusher gets 5 sacks because Myles Garrett did, and you still lose 32-13.
I was going to say that defense stepped up big time.
Yeah,
Wasn't enough.
mean, well, the big thing that's been helping them, and not they've done a great job in a lot of things here. They're still the Browns. Has been Quinshawn Judkins has been doing decent as a rookie for the Browns. He had 9 carries for 19 yards in this game. So yeah, not good. And Dylan Gabriel threw a couple picks, only 156 yards. So he definitely had a bad game there. And you got to wonder at this point there, when did they start Shedeur Sanders? Because I got to think that at some point they're going to start Shedeur Sanders.
Week 12.
Just to shut up the Browns fans at the very least.
Week 12.
And we'll see what happens there. And I do agree with what Jay's saying here. Dylan Gabriel is going to be the starter next season. No, he's the backup next year. They don't have the starter next year. They have 2 first-round picks, theirs and the Jaguars. That's going to be, yeah. They're going to build up this team with a whole bunch of people that will probably not perform.
The takeaway of this game, for me, was Drake May. He stepped up. The Pats were looking for a leader since Tom Brady left, and he stepped up after 5 sacks and just won this game. It was a slow start for him, but he finished that second half strong.
Yeah.
So up next is our games. We're not really going to go into this and break a leg here. Giants lose.
Oh, you did not just say that. That's the hashtag too soon.
I did it there.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah.
We just said how classy Eagles fans were for not being jerks about this. Didn't expect that from you.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We sucked. See, even Anthony says, Rob, what the hell? See? Wow.
I had to be the Debbie Downer. So bad.
Next game. Let's talk about the next game we want to talk about there. Because again, if you want to see all the thoughts on the Giants Eagles, we did the post show there yesterday. Go back to the homepage, you'll find it there. Let's talk about the Bucks at the Saints. Another blowout here. We kind of expected that one to be. I mean, this let's be honest, like one of the worst teams in the league, even though they beat the Giants. Only win they had this year, by the way. Versus the Bucks, who've been really solid. But the Bucks are missing a lot of guys at the wide receiver core specifically. But Baker Mayfield still gets it done as best he can there, with the defense definitely doing their job, because 23-3. It's just not even talk about it no more. Let's be honest here. It's just, one team was clearly the better team.
Yeah, give kudos to Baker and the Bucks, because you were 3 straight road games and you still came up against a division rival that plays you tough all the time. So kudos to you guys. Playing hard consistently every game. Up next, you had the Titans go into Tennessee to Indianapolis, playing the Colts. Arguably, it's the best team in the NFL right now. The Colts, who are sitting at 7-1 pretty after this game.
Yeah.
What do I say? The Colts were favored by 14 points in this game, and they covered that and beat it by then some, by the highest scoring offense in the league right now. So kudos to them with the over-under that was sitting at 47 points, and they almost covered themselves.
I'm going to say something that I don't think is necessarily very popular to say yet, but I'm going to say it. I think the Colts have some fool's gold in them.
A smidge, but you know what? They're the best rounded team because their defense has been stopping the ball for the most part.
Yeah. Well,
right?
He left the Bengals, went there. I mean.
Yeah. You got DJ's been nonstop, and you got JT, who's now, 3-4 games in a row with 3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
1 touchdowns, making NFL history. So, that offensive line has given a lot of support to both those guys. So, fool's gold, maybe.
No, see, I'm with Anthony. I just saw his comment there, 7 wins against 5 bums. Okay, so let's go over their schedule legit here.
I'm just saying.
Hold on. They destroyed the Dolphins. Dolphins suck. Right? We agree on that? Dolphins suck? Okay. They beat the Titans twice now. Can we agree the Titans suck?
Still divisional, but yes.
Hold on. They beat the Raiders. We agree the Raiders suck?
Yeah.
Okay. So they then also the Cardinals, they barely beat them. That's an okay-ish team, I guess. They beat the Chargers. Hold on. They beat the Chargers.
I
that
agree
the
with
Giants
that.
even beat because they had no offensive line whatsoever. This was during the time of the injuries like crazy. They have like third string tackles in and stuff like that. I'm just saying that schedule has been really nice to them. Really nice to them. So, like I said, I'm just saying this is not exactly the toughest schedule in the world they've had. Not knocking them for it. You play the schedule you got. I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked if they play some good teams and they come back to earth a little.
Listen, all those teams, they beat by multiple scores.
Yeah, you should beat them by
100%. We should. You should, but most teams have not this year.
And that's what I'm saying. Some fools good. I'm not saying they're crap. I just don't think they're 7-1 good. I think they're more like, 5 and like 5 and 3 good. You know what I mean? Like I think that's
which right now is still one of the best.
And that's why I'm saying I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying I think they're on a peg they don't deserve to be on because of the schedule. And this, for the record, I know someone's going to say it. It's not DJ hate. We actually don't hate DJ on the show. Not all Giants fans hate DJ.
No, I'm just giving kudos to the offensive line, who is allowing DJ and JT to go out there and score some ball.
Yeah. Anthony says, I'm knocking them. They suck. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, next up, we got the Cowboys winning to Denver. And listen, if you want some positivity, we might have a chance against the Cowboys the second time we played them. Here we go. Because we barely lost it. The Broncos should have whooped their butts based on how the first 3 quarters went. And the Broncos just whooped on the Cowboys. 44-24. Absolutely insanity there. Dak Prescott threw 2 picks in there. Javonte Williams, his return to Denver, had a couple of touchdowns, but only 41 yards. Bo Nix threw 4 touchdowns in the game there. Troy Franklin got 2 of them. I mean, point blank, it was a domination game. Absolute domination game.
Yeah. And I think Drew said this one up perfectly this week.
You know what? Hold on. We got to do this right now.
Yeah.
We got to do this right. Here we go. Where'd it go? Where'd she go? I saw her in the chat. I'm like trying to look through here and find her.
Anyway, Sunday Night Football, as Drew's picked it up.
There we go. I'm gonna put Kelsey's picture up there on the screen for you to do this one.
That's also talking about a paper bag for my head. But anyway.
But that's because Anthony's gonna wear one to the Packers game if they lose to the 49ers.
Packers going to Pittsburgh. They were 3-point favorites in this game. To give Aaron Rodgers the opportunity to beat 32 teams in the NFL. Well, he did not deliver. Over on this game was at 45.5 points, and it went way over because once the second half came out, the Steelers did not come out of the locker room, and they let Green Bay beat up on them. Green Bay wins 35-25, and a heartbreaking game for Aaron Rodgers, but a very satisfying game for all Green Bay fans out there.
Aaron Rodgers has no heart.
Yeah. Touche. He can't break his heart.
If he was on Captain Planet, we know which kid he would not be.
Be the fire kid.
Earth. He loves the cave so much, he'd be Earth.
Yeah. The boring one. Lackluster.
As Jay says, 4-year, $200 million extension coming for Daniel Jones. Yeah, that's a good move. Nothing bad can happen there. And then currently, we're in the third quarter here of the Monday Night Football game here. The Commanders at the Chiefs. It's still anybody's game, but right now the Chiefs are up 14-7 on the Commanders. But again, anything can change. Mahomes already thrown a couple of picks from what I've seen here. Again, we've been in the show, so I haven't been able to watch that part of it there. But yeah, it's Marcus Mariota back in after the rumor was Jaden Daniels to be back in, but nope, that didn't happen. So, yeah, all kinds of chaos happening in this game here. And as usual, the Chiefs do play down to bad competition. So that's what's happening here. We'll see what happens. I still think the Chiefs are the better team, though. They are. So
100%.
All righty, guys. So that makes it Rob the winner this week on the picks here to break the tie that he and I had after the first 7 weeks. So he ends up winning by 6 points this week. So good job, Rob. You get a gold star. You get a gold star.
Yay.
And once again, it's your over-unders. You are beasting this season at over-unders. Deb points out you're not the winner with Kelsey. You may be sleeping on the couch, but
we both fell asleep to the game. It was lackluster. Steelers injury. Listen, third down conversions in that game was absolutely terrible.
Oh my gosh. But all right, guys. That's gonna call it a night for us here as we're gonna head on out here. We'll be back again Wednesday as we do our preview of the San Francisco 49er matchup, going over what's going on there with all their lovely injuries and issues. For once, we're facing a team that's got it's more banged up than us.
Yeah, but they're still winning.
I know, but I'm trying to give some positive. I'm trying to be positive, Rob. Don't you understand? Don't you understand? For once, I'm trying to be positive, and you're the one not being positive now. Anyway, we'll see you guys Wednesday. As always, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're, of course, live on game day as well, full game day coverage, including play-by-play and post-game coverage as well. And, of course, we're always on YouTube, the preferred platform, along with Facebook, Twitter/X, Twitch, and, of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile. And, of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones. So if you haven't already, guys, go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share button there. And we'll see you guys back on Wednesday. Appreciate you guys for watching as always. And as always, Giant fans,
go G-Man! Go G-Man! Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.